The condo market is still tanking terribly, Mark. Still.
Yeah, no, we've seen a real upswing in the freehold market and the opposite's happening in the condo. It's been struggling all year. So, there's a few things come to my mind. I think we'll talk a lot about that as we progress through the numbers for the Barrie area and look at the price points that are selling and that are not selling and the inventory levels. And there's a lot of product. The inventory is not going down. It keeps increasing because sales just suck. So that's the market in general, but we're going to go through some numbers and then we'll talk about why we think it's really being impacted.
Yeah.
So, in saying that, anybody wants to get a custom list, maybe not condos, but maybe freehold properties, click the link above in the descriptions, give you a full detailed list of properties based on your criteria or a home evaluation. So let's take a look at the numbers.
Yeah. I will share them with you. I was shocked because the freehold throughout Simcoe County came up so much.
Wrong. Yeah.
And I was shocked that the condos are still doing so bad.
And I think it's too with the demographic, right? We look at Toronto, we see more of a younger demographic buying condos, mainly due to affordability. So up here, we don't have that young buyer demographic. Yes, some buying condos, but if they can get into a townhome or a small detached, they're going that route first. It's more of an older demographic. And in my building, there's not a lot of young people here. 40, 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's the demographic mainly.
Well, you know what's funny, Mark? You know how I'm trying to sell my house right now. I did the math of buying a condo or a smaller townhouse, and it's actually more money for me to buy a condo because of the
Right.
condo fee
Yep,
and the taxes are still so high.
they are.
It doesn't
Yep.
even make sense. Like you might as well get a townhouse. It's cheaper.
Well, and that's it, right? It's a certain demographic that like condo living, and I'm one of them. I love condo living. I must say I enjoy it. I do nothing. And I like spending my time in other ways, not cutting grasses, not shoveling driveways, not looking after and maintaining a property, etc. I'm responsible for in these four walls. I kind of like that, suits my lifestyle. It's not for everybody. So, that's what the condo market and condo living is all about. And I feel, there's still a young demographic. When I say young, 50s, 60s, even some 70-year-olds say, I'm not ready for a condo yet because
Yeah.
they've had 30, 40 years of owning a home and I like to garden, I like to putt around, and I like cutting the lawn, I like trimming the trees. It keeps them, it's almost like a little job for them to keep them busy and occupied, and they don't want to let it go.
Well,
Because
and I do like being outside. I do like gardening. Like I've been shoveling every flipping day this week. I don't like shoveling, okay?
no, not many people do.
Uh-huh. But I like barbecuing and I like being outside and I have my grandkids go outside. So
Right.
like yeah, I find a lot of condos downtown Barrie, especially near the water, you can't have a barbecue at all either. Now they offer community ones.
Yes, they do. Lake House, Lack House. They do. It's upstairs. It's, year round. You want to barbecue, you go up there. It's great. There's not many people going up there today to barbecue. Um,
No.
let's face it, but you have some options. But again, it's that small percentage of the market that want that type of product. And there's a lot. You think about all the building in Barrie, it's not big subdivisions anymore. That land has been built up over the years. It's condos. There's a lot of condo inventories on the market right now.
Oh,
Available
yeah,
product.
all the yeah, you're right. That's another thing is that the condo market or the condo inventory of new builds has increased humongously.
Massive, massive,
Massive.
right? And we talk a lot about the ones on Southeast Barrie from Pratt Homes, Spice Way, in those areas. There's tons in there, right?
Tons.
Lots. We see over in Code a couple buildings over there. Where else are we seeing that?
Oh, over by Coda, by Bear Creek.
Bear Creek, there's some, right? Lake House, Lock House is a new building, and there's some product out there.
And
And
they're building those debut ones, two giant
oh,
towers, 40 stories, giant.
right. So there's lots to pick from. And I don't, it's a
And the
tough time
market
to sell condo
sucks.
today. You got to really price it accordingly to turn it and don't sell it now. Wait till the new year. Wait till
Hmm.
Feb. March.
Well, what's funny is, so just to recap, last month there was 34 sales in the year before 23,
Hmm.
and it actually went up 32% after being negative. But then in November, all we did was kind of catch up
Right.
because we had 29 sales and we had 32 last year, so it went down 9%.
Yeah.
Um, but overall, year over year, 403
Hmm.
and 351 this year.
Almost 13%. That's year to date, right?
Well, that's really bad year to date considering we're at the end of November. And last year was the worst year in how many years?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I know. But that's the market. And if we go back and and I'm not going to give January, February, but look at the inventory from April down. It was pushing 200 back in April.
I know.
And it's kept going up and the sales, like they're double digits, but that's it. They've stayed the same. They haven't really done much except for look at May, we
May.
saw boost of
Look at May,
51. Right.
51.
Right. And the inventories around the same, a little bit lighter, but I know the market, there's just too much inventory right now. And I don't think it's a real price thing. We know where the sales are coming from. We're gonna go through that, but we know you know what I mean? It's that extra expense for a homeowner to go into a condo or a new buyer with a common element fee.
Well, and
Mine,
you know what's funny, Mark? Here's the sales. And the thing is though that's funny is like at the higher price range, we don't have a lot anyway.
there's not a lot of inventory anymore.
No.
Range. There's
No.
some, but there's not a ton.
No, no, not at all. So between 4 and 500 there was 12 sales,
Yeah.
15 last year,
Yeah.
and there's 50 active.
There you go. There you go. So 5% of the sales, 5% of the inventory is turning over, and that's a low range.
Yeah, and 5 to 600, 7 sales,
Yep.
10 last year,
Yep.
61 actives.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Like we don't have a lot of actives. Like unlike the freeholds, we
Yep.
don't have a lot of actives in the high range.
No, no. We did several months ago. Some of them sold with multiple price decreases, mainly in Nautica. We've seen some inflated price points there that we went never going to happen, and they ended up selling at lower price points in time in the market, right? Has made them disappear. But I think anyone selling a condo has really got to pay attention to what's going on in the condo market, paying close attention to the inventory levels and what is selling, and reacting quick. No sense
Well,
of
you know what was kind of funny to me here? So between 6 and 7, 4 sold this year, 2 last year, only 35 listings. There's still quite a few. But look when we get to the 7 and 8,
yeah.
3 sales last year or this year, one
Mhm.
last year. We're up 67%, but there's only 7 active in that range.
And where we're seeing that range, we're seeing them in three buildings. We're seeing them in uh, Waterview, Toronto Street. We're
Yep.
seeing them in Nautica, and we're seeing them in Lackhouse. That's
Yeah.
where the inventory between the 7 and 8 range, and even the 8 to 9, one even right down to 1 million and above. We're seeing them in these buildings.
Yeah.
Yes, there's that nice building at White Oaks. Probably has 9 units. We're not seeing many in there, but that's to me that's a specialty property. But they're mainly dominated by three buildings.
Yeah. And 9 to 1 million,
Oh,
we've had one sale and there's only one active.
right, right,
Like
right.
so like this condo problem is not in the
Higher rent.
higher price ranges because they're obviously eventually selling because we saw a lot more in that range before and now they're gone.
Now they're gone. Yeah, now they're gone. Right. We saw some in my building. Again, they didn't sell in a week. Couple months they sold with the odd price change down to make them turn. The buyers in here still made some decent money because they bought it off the builder. So they're still ahead of the game.
Yep.
But, that's just, and again,
But they're actually moving where
yes,
over
yes,
here, like in this lower range,
they're
they're
not.
not doing anything.
They're not. They're not. And there's a lot of product.
A
And there's
shit
a lot
ton.
of a lot of these buildings are up are aging, or 30, 40 years old. They need they need more than they need updates. They need
Yeah.
repairs. And that's part of the common element fee. That in the reserve fund, they need some things in there to be done on the building to maintain it, and it becomes costly. And that's a lot of the inventory that's sitting too. Like, a couple of years ago, we would have seen this inventory would have been gone, and this lower price range a couple of years ago would have been gone in a heartbeat.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
all over the place. We look at that, let's just, maybe it is I shouldn't really say it's a first time buyer, but some of them are, in the lower price ranges. Hey, I need to get in the market. I can't get, priced in. We're talking maybe one bedroom at Belfarm would probably go for 350 today, maybe 360, and the common fees relatively okay. So they could manage that, right? But today, they can't qualify because of where the rates are today versus a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
With the stress test on there, it's not, they can't get through. They can't get it done.
No.
So, you know, like I really believe that something is going to, if we're concerned about our young generation to get into home ownership, I think things need to be done. Should we still have a stress test? I don't know. I think it should be depending on what the debt levels are for people, what the
Well,
risk.
and we had a
High
couple.
risk, yes. No risk, why?
Well, and we had a comment, and I read it to you about how you're pushing, oh yeah, make it easier for people to buy houses so they can get in more trouble and get in more debt and
Oh,
screw them over more because, we're realtors and we just want to sell houses. That's
yeah.
not the point. The point is that right now I can't afford rent. I can afford mortgage more than rent. Your
Mhm.
mortgage is actually cheaper than rent, okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
In
Mhm.
general, most people's it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. For
So, and then being a lifetime tenant, I
mhm.
mean, you don't own the house. They can ask you to move anytime, So like you're moving around, you're changing, your kids, are in a school zone and now you might have to get out of it. Like it's a nightmare. And houses and condos, everything eventually goes up. Like there's going to be dips, but over
Mhm.
the long haul, it's still a decent investment. It's better than giving money to a flippin' landlord.
Well, for sure it is, right? For sure. And it's just things need, I think really things need to change in how we qualify people today. Why couldn't they look at stress tests where, you have a 5% down payment. Should you have a stress test? Yeah, shit, you should. Yeah, you should. But when you're putting it up 30, 40, 50% down, 50% loan to value, why would you need a stress test?
Yeah, I know.
Tons of equity in there. The equity position of that buyer is huge. Why
I
are we
know.
making them qualify like that? So we have a lot of people today sitting on properties, whether it's freehold condos, I mean condos, or whether it's freehold properties that going, I'd like to move, honey, but we can't afford to because we can't qualify for extra more money
Mark,
based
a
on
lot of them can't even listen. A lot of them can't qualify what they have now.
not if they wanted to, right? Because they
Go,
got qualified back on the lower rates.
yeah.
That market's not turning over, right?
No.
So where's it coming from? Well, we're seeing people downsize. We're seeing people come from different markets, more only GTA markets up to this community. People here are, some are downsizing, whether they're moving outside the city or outside the province, but there's
Well,
just
listen, you
not a
also
lot of
always,
activity.
yes, but you always have the people that get divorced. You
Oh,
have
yes.
you have people that pass on and you have
Yeah.
estate sales. Like
Yeah.
this year, I noticed there's a lot of estate sales, but that's probably
Oh,
because right now, like other people that can stay and hold and sit here and wait a bit,
yeah.
they are. So you're seeing like some power sales, you're seeing some estate sales,
Mhm.
because those are the only ones listing.
Well, we see some of them, they're not the only one, but there's lots of different motivations, right, for selling. But we do see those, that's just normal everyday activity that's always in the marketplace, no matter what.
Always.
Like that's just not going to change. But there's still a lot of people that aren't in the marketplace to either trade up or even maybe trade down. Hell, we trade down. Say they want to reduce their mortgage debt by a couple hundred grand. They may not be able to still qualify, so they're not going to do it, right? And if they have sitting on it that home buyer could still be sitting a couple hundred thousand worth of equity and want to trade up. but still can't qualify based on the rate and the stress test. Meanwhile, they're sitting in a really good financial position.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear people's comments on that. And I know most of we get, oh, Jesus Christ, you're trying to push people into mortgaging everything. That's the life. I'm sorry, but that's just the way we do things. I'm sorry. We all got
That's
to
well, that's the way the economy in this country works.
we start somewhere. We take on debt. How we manage it is up to us. And most people say, hey, bang, I'm looking at a new truck. Oh, but I want to keep my payment under 8. That's the first thing the salesman say. What payment are you looking for? Oh, 800. Okay, let's go look at the 60 $70,000 trucks and we can, get you into 84 months. Great. We don't give a shit. Well, it's 84 months. I don't care. Let's go. No different when we bought our homes back in the day. We could afford it. Great. The payment that met the debt servicing was all I was concerned about. And equity builds over time. And everyone thinks that everybody's in trouble financially and everything's going down. You haven't seen anything yet. We're not seeing it. We did a video 2 weeks ago on power sales, and there was 7 in the community of 700 and some listings. So the percentage is very small. People just, there's just not activity in the marketplace. I think we're seeing stability. We're going to finish the year on a positive note. Transactions, not prices aren't moving up.
No,
And as we progress into 2025, I don't think prices are doing much in 2025.
I don't either.
I think there's more uncertainty in 2025 than there is right now. Where's the economy going to go? I don't know. New president in the US, how's that going to impact us? We don't know yet.
No.
We see headlines. So there's uncertainty. What happens if this gets cut? We're going to get a change of government in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
A lot going on, right?
Yeah.
So immigrant,
And government rules and lending rules can change the housing market in the snap of a finger.
they can. Well, they can. And I think things need to be changed with the times. Why are we reacting too late? We're reacting too late to this.
Well, and actually, I said to you, Mark, this morning when we were talking about the video, this is the first time ever that we had a stress test and an interest rate this high ever. Because in 2017 is when the stress test became mandatory for everyone and interest rates were lower. And they have never been this high. And we have a stress test at the same time ever in the world, ever.
I believe in them when rates are low. I think it protects the market, the integrity of the market, and the lending practices. I think it's great. But when we're in a higher rate, and really, 4 or 5% isn't really high, but it's high from what we're used to. Why
Yes.
are we needing that? Why don't we shave it down a point? Why don't we help people get into homes? And I'm not saying that, folks, to be, oh, get me 10,000 clients, call on my phone. No, this is reality 101 here, right? I'm not preaching anything about call us or call me. It's the overall market integrity, what we need to see what's happening. And right now it's just sputtering along.
Well, and the number one dream or aim or goal for
Owning a home.
Canadians is to own their own home.
And we're making it difficult to do that.
Yeah.
Much so difficult.
And Europe, it's normal. Like a lot of people don't own their homes there, and it's normal.
It was funny because I was talking to my friend. He was doing a talk over in London. They were talking, was, you think the real estate prices are high here? He talked about some areas in London.
Told you.
Fancy, close to the palaces and all that. Talking $35 million.
I know.
Huh? 35 million bucks. People never own homes over there. That's just the that's just the market.
I was telling you that
Priced
before
out.
that, we all complain about the prices here. Everybody whines and bitches and complains, but Canadians own their own home. The home ownership, I'd love to look at the numbers sometime, is way
Yeah,
greater than a lot of other
it is.
countries.
It is. It is. It is. It's here. It is, right? So in Europe, they have flats. So a person has a big home, level grant basements apartment, mid-levels apartment, uppers apartment. They got 3 or 4 apartments in them. And they're built like that.
Hmm.
Same entrance, different doors. They're big. Right? That's how people can afford them. They need rental properties over there because the majority of the market's renting.
Well, that's the whole thing. The majority is. That's
Oh,
why, at the end of the day, you want to be the person that's owning the home, not the person that's at the mercy of the person that's owning the home. Meaning, if I'm the tenant, I'm at the mercy of the owner, right?
you're not building wealth. You're not getting it. We all start small. We get into our first little home. We build some equity. We trade up. We stay there. It gets paid down over 15, 20 years. You own it. Paid off. An asset paid off. Pretty nice.
Well, you have an asset.
You have an asset when it's you have an asset when it's paid down a bit, but yes, right. And I think that's everybody's dream. I think homeownership's, and I think this generation, that's the younger generation today, have lost hope in that.
Well, it's
Yes.
taking them a lot longer. No, the people aren't buying in their 20s the way they were. Now they're buying in
Um,
their 30s and
they
40s.
are. They are. They are. Anything else you kind of want to talk about the condo market?
No.
We kind of covered off some key details. Don't expect much for December numbers because they'll be pretty crappy. And we'll start to see a lot of people taking them off the market, right? We're in the, it's getting done now, right? There's not much going on now. There's still sales happening, yes, there is, and there's still showings, but I'm kind of still surprised we're seeing listings coming up.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and the other thing is, don't be surprised in Barrie over the next couple of years, these numbers and the inventory levels and the sales numbers, like we're going to see a lot higher because how many condos they're building here.
yeah, we will. I think the trends. I mean, I think, like, yeah, for the condo market, yeah, we'll see some more product coming on. And even my building's a year old now. Condo fees are going up 10, 15% next year. The fees are going up.
Of course.
But they were kind of low to begin with. I went,
Well, and I knew, yeah, when they told you the
okay.
fees, or when
Yeah,
you told me the fees there, I said, oh, well, that's not going to stay like
it's not
that.
going to
It's
stay
too
there for
low.
a while. It's too low. It's too low.
Yeah,
So, but anyway, okay. Anybody wants to more information on the condo market, give us a call. Hit the subscribe button for more information on it, and maybe any other questions you have, drop us a line.
perfect.
See ya.
See ya.